I mean, this is not the landscape from 10 years ago when everyone was pouring money into these websites.
Certainly hit a breaking point, I think, or maybe a broader realization that the exit may not be there for all of these firms. I mean, even the digital media firms, Vice and BuzzFeed, that have toyed with going public, have reached the conclusion that there is no appetite for them to go public. They're not in a financial position where investors really believe in the long-term growth of these companies.
What happened? So we know they were extremely successful, like I said, maybe about 10 years ago. And then a couple of years ago, you started hearing about the need to pivot to video, so to speak. So there must have been a recognition on the inside that traffic trends are changing, user behavior is changing. Well, what's the difference?
Well, some of it was what Julia just referenced, which was that Facebook made a change to its algorithm that dramatically lowered traffic and eyeballs and therefore ad revenue that were associated with a number of these different sites. In addition to that, I think people realized that simply advertising alone wasn't going to get them there. So what we've seen over the past couple of years is many of these sites have transitioned to a paywall where they're at least getting subscription revenue in addition to the advertising revenue. And so the whole model is now different, and the value proposition along with that business model has changed.
It's very different. So, Julie, also curious what you would make of it, because you have, again, these sites that came on in a big way and now are kind of floundering, while the traditional, the old schools, the Wall Street Journals of the world are doing much better and do have that paywall and now even have the help of Facebook and Google, I guess. But why aren't Facebook and Google benefiting the other digital media players more?
Well, I think the key thing here is that Facebook and Google are under all this regulatory scrutiny. And one thing they've really been criticized for is really stealing advertising dollars from the New York Times and the Washington Post of the world, simply because there's so many news sites out there that just aggregate, that pull headlines, that copy what those original sort of journalistic outlets are doing, that there's been this push now for the Facebooks and Googles of the world to take a step back and to make sure that they're not going to get criticized and really more regulatory scrutiny about this from Capitol Hill. So what we've seen recently is now Facebook is in the process of putting together a news tab. They want to license content. They want to make sure they drive people back to the news outlets to subscribe there. We haven't seen exactly what that'll look like yet, but that is in process. And then Google has been doing this thing to try to sort of feature original reporting, because I think they know this is something they're going to be criticized for even more. And we need some journalists out there to keep doing the original reporting that everyone else is going to copy.